want you to think back to high school for a moment. Fun, right? Now, specifically, I want you to think back to your high school PE class. Can you remember any one piece of information you learned, other than how many boyfriends your best friend Becky had? Well, unfortunately, most people can't. As someone who has had a poor experience with high school PE herself, I'm aware from first-hand experience how lacking this class can be. In America today, we have many preventable problems concerning our health and wellness, such as obesity and disease. Saying this, in this speech, I'm going to communicate one solution to our health problems, and that solution is to simply fix our policies regarding physical education in schools, starting with our local South Carolina high schools. So to start off, let's talk about how a lack of good physical education can negatively impact our life. Our physical education systems in South Carolina does not promote lifelong habits concerning being physically active. This leads to sedentary behavior and health issues in our adult lives. In fact, because of this, millions of people have been classified as being inactive. In the article titled "Mapping the Prevalence of Physical Inactivity in the United States in 2016, Rupung An and his co-editor state that a substantial proportion of United States adults remain physically inactive. Among the 50 states, 45 had over a fifth of their adult population without any leisure time physical activity, and 8 had over 30% without physical activity in 2015. So basically, his study proved that over a fifth of the adult population in almost every state were titled inactive. Saying this, activity is something that is crucial to our health, and inactivity can lead to preventable health problems in the future, such as psychological disorders, diseases, and obesity. For reference, in his book titled "Predictive Factors, Health Risks, and Psychological Implication" in 2016, Dr. Alkadib says that sedentary lifestyle and physical inactivity are causes of major health risks, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and cancer. Another health issue that is commonly seen from inactivity is psychological distress. So, for example, in the article titled "Women in Health" written in 2018, Vilija did a study on women who stayed physically inactive and noted their psychological differences. She found that leisure time physical inactivity was strongly associated with psychological distress. Efforts to increase physical activity could be beneficial to those. So basically, she proved that the participants had increased psychological distress because of their inactivity. Obesity is another large problem due to inactivity. In fact, the article titled "Obesity Rates Increasing" in 2018, Bridget Kuhn found that states now have self-reported obesity rates over 35%, according to data from the CDC. By comparison, all states had obesity rates lower than 35% in 2012. So this is an alarming increase, and a lot of that reason is due to inactivity. Unfortunately, this increasing number of people with obesity become predisposed for many other health issues. In 2018 article written by Dr. Gadd, Obesity Pathophysiology and Management, they state, "We now have a better understanding of the pathophysiology of obesity and how excess adiposity leads to type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular disease." In other words, obesity can lead to preventable diseases, and this is through activity. So, we said that inactivity can be caused by an inadequate amount of proper physical education as a kid, right? Well, how do we fix that? We can start by fixing our policies regarding physical education programs at local high schools in South Carolina. So right now, our policies regarding physical education are vague and non-demanding. According to shapeamerica.org, in 2016, they state that the state does not require a minimum amount of physical activity time for middle and high school students. Therefore, our state does not mandate a specific amount of time in which students must be physical. In fact, shapeamerica.org also state that the state requires only 1 credit hour of PE for graduation. This indicates that high school students are only required to take 1 year of PE class, which means the other 3 years they aren't required to be physically active at all. So one important way we can fix the risk of obesity and health problems for our future generations is by mandating a specific amount of time allowing students to engage in moderate to vigorous physical activity, or MVPA. If you don't know what this is, some examples are dancing, tennis, brisk walking, and slow biking. According to the American Heart Association, in 2018, kids 6 through 17 years old should get at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity per day. So in other words, our high school's policies need to mandate at least 60 minutes of physical activity within their physical education classes. Saying this, the policy must also mandate high school students to take physical education classes every year to make sure that they are receiving this proper amount of MVPA. So, do some people say that physical education is not important and is taking away from some more important areas of school? Of course. Do some people also think that future health problems cannot be solved through physical childhood education? Yeah. For example, in the article titled "The Impact of Physical Education on Obesity Among Elementary School Children," written in 2013 by John Colley and his co-editors, they state that there are several reasons that PE may not lower weight or risk of obesity. There is little evidence of a causal effect of PE on youth obesity. Saying this, in his article, Colley did make some strong points on why physical education does not make a big difference regarding future health issues. Therefore, there's research that supports both sides of the argument, so ultimately it's your decision for which you believe. But what I want you to think about is, what would you want for your child? Would you want to risk it and settle for the poor physical education they're receiving now, or take charge to ensure your child's future health? So, after all this, you learned about some major health problems in America and how to try and fix them through better childhood physical education. Saying this, I want you to think back to your high school PE class and ask yourself what you would change now. And once you've done that, I want you to take that idea and fight for it for the sake of our future generations. Thank you.
There's me, and there's Daddy.